I take it that there are people who have, you spoke of dying for something, who have nothing to live for, die for, defense mechanisms or whatever.
In fact, Professor Smith, I must say that there is a growing incidence of a feeling of total and ultimate meaninglessness of life, the lacking worthwhileness of one's life, the abysmal feeling of that of an inner void and emptiness. And many people, above all among the academic youth, is caught in this crippling and tantalizing experience of that there is no meaning to human existence at all. This emptiness, this boredom, this inner void, I've termed the existential vacuum, the frustration, that is to say, of that will to meaning of which I have started to speak.
I'm very curious at this point. You have been a frequent visitor to our country. Do you notice any difference between students in Europe and those in the United States on precisely this point of the sense of like emptiness and meaningless?
Certainly. For instance, once I've improvisingly conducted a statistical inquiry and research among my students at the Medical School of Vienna University, students for whom I'm lecturing in German, that is to say, West German, Austrian, Swiss students, and so forth. And up to a percentage of 40%.
Not 14.
14. Why?
Yeah.
They admitted that they knew from their own experience this dreadful, abysmal feeling of a total and ultimate meaninglessness in life. And then, and this might be still more interesting to you, then I conducted the same experiment among my American students for whom I am lecturing in English at the University of Vienna. And the percentage of those who confessed that they knew from their own experience this existential vacuum was not 40, but 81%.
Well, now, of course, this immediately cries out for an explanation of why.
Partially, this might be due, last but not least, to this entirely and thoroughly mechanistic approach, which is so prevalent and so predominant in your culture and in your way and manner of approaching students, of teaching. What I mean is that you youngsters are told and taught that in the final analysis man is nothing but the battleground of conflicting, of clashing claims of an ego and superego. Oh, in the final analysis nothing but, I'm stressing, nothing but the outcome, the mere outcome of various conditioning processes, be it that we then have to deal with sociological conditions or with conditions of psychological or biological nature and origin. This might be one of the causes accountable for this present state of affairs.
From the way you speak about that, it sounds, I gather, that you're totally opposed to this view. Is man then not cause? Is there no conditioning going on?
As a clinician, you may be sure that I am fully aware of that man is also determined and conditioned. What I'm against, what I'm pleading against is solely pan-determinism, as I used to call it. That is to say, regarding man as fully conditioned and determined. And as in my other quality you ascribe to me, not as a professor in 2 disciplines, but as a survivor of 4 German concentration camps, I can tell you that surely man is subject to conditions. Man is not at all free from conditions. But man is always free to take a stand toward whatsoever conditions he might be confronted with. And in this taking a stand, and to this precisely, to this very extent, he is free. There is choice of which attitude to adopt whenever confronted with an unchangeable situation. And when you are teaching people and preaching that man is to be, human existence is solely to be explained in terms either of the machine model or the rat model, I'm quoting now Gordon W. Allport, then you should no longer be surprised and astonished when people finally really behave like automata. They've never been taught and told anything else. This reminds me of the story which I recently heard in Vienna of a man who wanted to train his parrot that this parrot might say daddy to him. And this parrot did not do anything like this. And in order to punish the parrot, he jailed it overnight in the hen house. And when he visited the hen house in the morning, he found all chickens killed by the parrot, and the last living chicken the parrot held in its claws and bet it and screamed, "Say daddy to me, say daddy to me." He just behaved as he had been taught and told by his owner.